Hello everyone, welcome to day 3 and this is your instructor Rizwan Mania. So we are very much active on our WhatsApp groups. I hope you are following all my instructions that I'm giving in those groups. So make sure that you follow all the instructions. Today I've shared a very important document about examinable verb as well, and I will continue to do so. So let's quickly move towards our day 3 plan. But before that, having a quick look at the 5-day plan. Those who are new today, they should know day 1 was for budgets, day 2 variances, day 3 is decision making that we're starting right now, and day 4 tomorrow, very important. So make sure you are present tomorrow. Performance measurement. Day 5, again, performance measurement will be continued along with advanced costing techniques. Everyday plan is to solve 40 to 50 marks questions, and I try my best. Yesterday, we did some good practice. Today, we have another good plan, so let's move on. Today's agenda is about relevant costing, one of the crucial areas, one of the weak areas of students. Then we'll be doing section C, past paper, 20 marks. Then we will move into a pricing. Pricing is another one area where students do struggle sometimes when it comes with learning curves. So today we'll be doing pricing with learning curves. Two important price strategies of price penetration and skimming strategy. So very common in your papers. We'll be discussing that and the drafting part of that as well. Then we'll move towards past paper section B, practice question that I gave you yesterday. I did mention in my WhatsApp groups as to solve the question. So we'll be solving that question. Then I will be discussing about decision trees, which relates to risk and uncertainty. Then past paper section A, and yes, the break time 5:30 to 5:40. So this is the plan of action for today. As you all know, I give you $1 million plan every day relating to those topics that we are not covering in webinar and those which I've covered before. So I give the plan to all of you. People were asking me about linear programming. So linear programming is what I've covered very extensively in my past 2 webinars, in fact, past 3 webinars. So I will definitely share the link of that so that you can just watch linear programming, and that will really be good for you people. Okay, so here we go. Let's start with relevant costing. A quick one, first of all. Relevant costing basically is what? To be honest, let's keep this very simple because the relevant costing is not that complicated. People do make relevant costing a bit more complicated. So it's used for decision making and it is used for short-term decision making. Okay, now if you want to take a decision in the short run, you can use relevant cost. So what is a relevant cost? Relevant cost is a cost that relates to future. It relates to future and it is a future cash flow. So yeah, it's a cash flow which is future cost. Now how to figure out whether a certain cost is relevant or a certain cost is irrelevant. How to decide that? So yes, this is always important. So remember, I'm telling you a simple rule of 6 here. Rule of 6. According to this rule of 6, you can easily decide a cost is relevant or irrelevant. So let's brush up the basic concepts before I move towards my past papers. So just listen very carefully what I'm explaining here, and then I will be giving the example through the past papers. Okay. So a cost will be a relevant cost if it's an incremental cost or an incremental income. So we classify that as a relevant cost. Okay. Now you have to keep this in your mind that, for example, you are planning to do ACCA and you're planning, and the second plan you have is to do MBA or BBA. So now the fees of ACCA, if for example 5 lakhs and 500,000, and the fee of BBA is for example 400,000. So if you decide doing ACCA, So you will be incurring 500,000. So this is your incremental cost, which means if you take a certain decision and because of that decision, whatever cost that will arise is known as incremental cost. It's very simple. The word incremental means that something that arises because of the decision. So if you do ACCA, you will incur 500,000. If you do BBA, you will incur 400,000. So whatever decision you take, that will give rise to the cost, and that is your incremental cost. Okay. So what is incremental? Because of your decision, any cost that arises directly. Okay, directly. So that arises as a direct consequence of a decision is known as incremental cost. Same for incremental income. Any income that you will earn as a direct consequence of your decision is known as incremental income. Okay, so if you take a decision as to open up a new factory or a new shop, so because of that new shop or new factory, the revenue that you will earn is known as incremental income. Okay. Now, a cost to be relevant, it can either be incremental cost or an incremental income. Second is opportunity cost. Cost of second best alternative foregone. So what is opportunity cost? Cost of second best alternative. So what this means, okay? So be clear about it. Any cost, there are two options, okay? One is option one, to do a job of 200,000, and you have another option of job two, and that is giving you 150,000. So job one, the salary is 200,000. Job two, the salary is 150,000. Now, what do you think? Will you prefer job one or job two? So obviously you'll prefer job one over job two because job one is giving you 200,000 and job two is giving you 150,000. Okay, so whatever sacrifice you are doing is known as your opportunity cost. So you just need to keep in your mind that, for example, currently you are doing a job of 150,000, okay? And all of a sudden you got an offer of 200,000 job. So obviously keeping in mind the financial benefits, what will you do? You will switch from job 1 to 2. You will switch from 150,000 to 200,000. Are you getting my point? You will switch from 150,000 to 200,000. So 150,000 sacrifice you are doing. You are leaving that job of 150,000 for the job of 200,000. So that is your opportunity cost. So remember, whatever compromise, whatever sacrifice you are doing by opting one option, that is known as opportunity cost. Okay, so if I ask you, you are leaving job of 150,000 for the job of 200,000. If I ask you what is the opportunity cost, can you tell me what is the opportunity cost, guys? Yes. What are you leaving actually? What are you sacrificing actually? Okay, so come on, tell me what will be your opportunity cost? Anyone can answer? So the opportunity cost will be the option that you are sacrificing, the option that you are foregoing, and that is 150,000. Exactly. Okay, right. So I hope it's clear. So remember, my friends, whenever you are taking a decision as to a certain cost is relevant for the decision or not, so keep simple rule in your mind. It will be relevant if it is incremental or it is opportunity. If it is incremental, it's a relevant cost. If it is opportunity, it's a relevant cost. Okay, so opportunity cost is the cost of second best alternative foregone. So what you have foregone, what you have sacrificed will be your relevant cost. Okay, so I hope this is clear. Samuel, 150,000 is what? That I am foregoing, okay? So that is my opportunity cost, cost of second best alternative. So second best alternative was 150,000 because the best option was to go for a job of 200,000. Okay, Samuel? Now, a cost that will be classified as an irrelevant cost. Now, if it is a sunk cost, you all know what is a sunk cost. Sunk cost is a past cost, which means already had been incurred in the past. Okay, already had been incurred in the past. So at the time of taking the decision, that cost has already been incurred in the past. So that is a sunk cost, which will not be a relevant cost. Okay. Uh, a cost will not be relevant if it is a committed cost. Now, what is a committed cost? Now, guys, listen. Committed cost is a cost that will be incurred in future. Okay, but still it will not be a relevant cost because the commitment to incur that have been made in the past. So at the time of taking the decision, this cost has not been incurred, but the commitment to incur, the promise to incur this cost has been made before the decision making, that is in the past. Okay, like the best example is guaranteed minimum wage. We promise our employees or the labor that we will give you salary irrespective of the work, which means we are promising them, we are giving them the guarantee whether we have work or not, we'll pay you. So that is a committed cost. Okay, we will pay that in future, but the commitment to pay has been done in the past. So that is not a relevant cost. A quick one. Sunk cost is a one that has been incurred in the past, okay, before decision making, and committed cost is a one that will be incurred in future, but the commitment to incur that has been made in past. Okay, so that is the difference. Now, notional means imaginary. Okay, notional means imaginary. So imaginary cost is not a relevant cost. Uh, the best example of notional is your absorption rates. Okay, absorption rates is basically notional cost. Any imaginary cost, any artificial cost is not a relevant cost. Okay, so if you are absorbing your fixed overheads, okay, if you're absorbing your fixed overheads, so that will not be a relevant cost for a decision because that is an artificial cost, because that is not being incurred specifically for the decision, so that is not a relevant cost. Okay, so any cost that is irrelevant, sorry, notional, imaginary, not real, will not be a relevant cost. The fourth and the last one is reapportionment of existing fixed cost. Yes, because it says existing fixed cost, which means rent, for example. So rent is something that is fixed. Now, you have a factory where you are paying a rent of $10,000. Now, any new work that you perform on that existing factory means that your rent will not change. Okay, so this means that rental cost for you is not a relevant cost, because if you do that new work on that existing factory or you do not do that work on this existing factory, in both the cases you will not incur additional rental costs, and this is not a relevant cost. So any cost that you are reapportioning to that new project, new thing that relates to the existing fixed cost will not be a relevant cost. Okay. Now, I just gave you the idea, so don't worry. Once we move to the past papers, I will definitely highlight these things again. Uh, for example, okay, it's a research cost. Like for example, you've done a research before entering into professional qualification. Now you are taking a decision whether to do ACCA, BBA, but all the research that you have done before and all the costs that you have incurred in that will not be a relevant cost. So the example of sunk is a research cost. Okay. Now, my friends, remember, for a cost to be relevant, it should either be incremental or opportunity. And for a cost to be irrelevant, it should be either sunk, committed, notional, or it should be a reapportionment of existing fixed costs. So this is rule of six for me and for you as well. Rule of six. Now, what is rule of six? Rule of six is basically a magical thing that will help you in your difficult times. It's a very important tool for you that says that rule of six is something that says that uh, you can decide what is a relevant cost and what is not a relevant cost. Okay, so through rule of six, you are able to take a decision what is relevant and what is irrelevant. So whenever you stuck somewhere, you're not clear what to do, just refer to rule of six, and through that you can figure out whether cost is relevant or irrelevant. Reapportionment of existing fixed cost. Example was existing factory rent that will not change because of the new project. So that is not a relevant cost. Okay. Now, there are four types of decisions that we take using relevant costing principles: one-off contract, make or buy decision, shutdown decision, further processing decisions. So listen very carefully. I've covered one-off contract before in my previous webinars, so the link will be shared with you people in the $1 Million Plan. Shutdown was covered in March 2020, so I'll share the link of that. You can cover that as well. Okay. Make or buy is our topic today. Make or buy is our topic today, and through make or buy, we will understand further relevant costing principles in the right way. Aisha, if there is some stepped cost, which means the fixed cost is increasing because of the project, so that will be a relevant cost. Okay. So today, agenda is make or buy. Now, I've changed the strategy from today is that first we will start with the past paper question. We will look at the topics that are being tested, and then I will give you the recap of that, and quickly we'll go back to the past paper and solve that. Okay. So this is my new strategy, which is known as Workback Strategy. That is, we start from a past paper question, we look at the requirements, then we will get to know the topics that are tested there. We will go back and just recap those, and we'll quickly come back to solve it. Okay, so I hope this strategy will help you. Do give me your feedback at the end of the session whether Workback Strategy is working for you or not. So let's not waste our time and move towards our first past paper question for today. Now I'm starting with a past paper question. For me, this question has been a roller coaster. This question was a very good question. I would say it's a benchmark question for me, because anyone who wants to understand make or buy quickly through one question, so the question name is Robber Company. Robber Company is a perfect question which is designed in such a way that it will cover entire make or buy topic. And see how will I do that. So a key guidance according to examiner reports. I will incorporate examiner reports. I do incorporate examiner reports. And today I will even emphasize here on the marking scheme as well. Okay, so do listen to me. There are small good techniques that I will tell you during the session, which will help you a lot. Now, as we're starting with this question, so a key guidance for section C. Question is, let's have a look. Tip of the day, section C. What examiner says. Numerical questions, the one as we are solving right now. Answering numerical questions also require a structured structured layout, okay, so that your calculation can be followed. Now, this is your examiner saying. Okay, so yes, can you hear me now? Is the voice clear? Is I'm audible to all of you? Okay, thank you. Perfect. Now, let me repeat tip of the day. Let me repeat tip of the day. So, when you are attempting section C questions, my friends, remember that a good structured layout is always good and helpful. A spreadsheet is a key thing for you. So make sure you are using spreadsheet tool, that is the formulas, and that will help you to save a lot of time. Okay, so this is our tip of the day. Now let's move on towards the question. And another tip I want to give you, whenever you are solving section C question, read the requirements first. Come on, just note down all the tips I'm telling you, okay? So just read requirement C. Sorry, I beg your pardon. Just go through the requirements first, because if you don't know what is being asked, how can you read the scenario? How can you link the things? Okay, so yeah, let's read. Advise robber company whether it should continue to manufacture the keypad and display screen in-house, or whether it should outsource their manufacture to the supplier in Kyrgyzstan, assuming it continues to adopt a policy to limit manufacturing sales to 80,000 control panels in the coming year. Okay, so the first question says you to advise whether they should continue. By the word continue, it's clear that currently they are producing in-house. Okay, so whether she should continue producing in-house or they should outsource it. Okay, and 80,000 units. Second part, Robert Company takes zero point 0.5 labor hours to produce keypad and 0.75 labor hours to produce display screen. Okay, labor are restrict labor hours are restricted to 100,000 hours and labor is paid 1 per hour. Okay, restricted hours, right? Limiting factor. Rubber company wishes to increase its supply to 100,000 control panels. Advise Robert as to how many units, keypad and display screen they should either manufacture or outsource in order to minimize their costs. Okay, so another question, but this is of limiting factor. You can see the restriction of the hour that is placed in part B is very clear that it's a limiting factor situation. Discuss the non-financial factors that Robert should consider when making a decision about outsourcing the manufacture of keypads and display screen. So yes, this is the third part, which is asking you the non-financial factors. Okay, so by reading the requirements, I'm getting a very good clarity as to what I have to do, and it's clear that it's a make or buy decision question that we are solving right now. So once you have understood the question, and then when you read the scenario, it will make much more sense. But provided, my friends, provided that you have understood the question, you are reading the question very carefully so that you exactly know what is being asked here. Okay. Now, it's a make or buy decision question. This is for sure. So no second thought about it. Before I read the scenario, I will give you a quick clarity about this topic. So it's a workback strategy. So let's quickly revise the topic. Make or buy, relevant costing. These decisions involve whether a product should be made in-house or should be bought from outside. So I hope this is clear that the decision is very simple. I have a product. Should I make that product in-house or I should buy from outside? Now, in case of Robber Company, they are currently producing keypads and display screens. So they are deciding, they have to take a decision whether to continue with the production of keypad display screen in-house or they should move towards outside. Okay. Now, one more thing, if you have solved this question before, so don't think you know the answer and things like that. Come on. Right now, it's about the technique. Rizwan Mania is all about technique. I will give you the technique. I will make this more simple because if question like this comes in your paper in December 2020, so it's the technique that will help you. Okay. Now, three things that we will be covering is make or buy situation without limiting factor, make or buy situation with limiting factor, make or buy non-financial factors, and all these three are being examined in Robert Company. So it will give you a perfect idea as to what is being asked. So we will recap that and we'll cover that. Let's start first with make or buy without limiting factor. Okay. $1,000,000 points are here to help you people. If the question is of without limiting factor, so listen very carefully. I will develop a mindset, okay, and that mindset will help you a lot. So many students used to say me, or even they say in today's market as well, that we are not good in relevant costing, we don't know the starting point, we don't know from where to start or not to start. So Rizwan Mania's $1,000,000 point is a tool which you have to take in your pockets with you in the examination hall, and you can use this tool, $1,000,000 points, that will help you to keep in your mind the strategy. Okay. So if the question is of without limiting factor, so first of all, it's important to determine whether it's limiting factor question or without limiting factor question. Okay. So if it is without limiting factor question, what you have to keep in your mind, decide between make or buy. Now this word or is very important here. That is, either you can make in-house or you can buy from outside. You might be thinking here that it's a very common sense point. So why it's a $1,000,000 point? Because once we move towards make or buy with limiting factor, then this point will make a lot of sense and will have a lot of significance. Right now, to be honest, anyone who will hear about this sentence will say, oh, it's a normal thing. So yeah, let's keep this right now as a normal thing. So what we'll do, if there is no limiting factor, which means no restriction of labor hours, no restriction of machine hours, there is no kind of, uh, there is no limiting factor. This means that you will keep your mind clear that I will go for either make or buy. Now, how will you take a decision, my friends? So the best way is to compare the cost. You will compare the cost of making with the cost of buying, and obviously, whichever will be lower, you will go for that, right? So you will compare the cost of making with the buying, and you will take a decision. Okay. Now let's do one more thing. Is the first requirement with limiting factor or without limiting factor? So if you just observe here, if you are very smart in your paper, so you can easily figure out that part B is basically putting a restriction of 100,000 labor hours. Part B is putting the restriction, which means part B is with limiting factor because there is a restriction here, whereas part A is without limiting factor. So how smartly we can figure out in the paper whether which part is limiting factor and which is not a limiting factor. Okay, my friends? So I hope this is clear to all of you that part B is part B is with limiting factor because there is a restriction mentioned here, and part A is without limiting factor because there is no restriction as to labor hours or machine hours or something like that. Okay. Now, normally we don't consider sales here. Sales is a limiting factor in all the cases, but for our calculation purpose, we look at the resources. Okay, so I hope this is clear to the student who is asking me question regarding this. So we look at the resources here. Okay. So part A is without because there is no restriction of labor hours, and part B is with. So if it is without, so what mindset you have to keep in your mind? Let's quickly apply the knowledge, okay? So you have to compare the cost of buying with the cost of making. Is that right? Let's imagine we are in the examination hall, and after reading the first part, it's very much clear that it is without limiting factor. So what should come in your mind? What should come in your mind is these things, these pointers. This this will help you to start the answer. You complain me every time. And what's your complaint? Sir, we don't know the starting point. So I'll tell you the starting point. What you do, cost to make versus cost to buy, which means what you have to do, just compute first variable cost to make. Okay. Now what I'll do here, I'll do a very awesome thing here, and that is these points that I mentioned here are the general points that you can remember in your mind, and these will help you in the examination to start the answer. But I will connect these points with the rule of six. What are rule of six? Incremental cost, opportunity cost, sunk cost, committed cost, notional cost, and reapportionment of existing fixed cost. So that it gives you the idea that anything that we are considering here is relevant or irrelevant considering rule of six. Okay, considering rule of six. Okay, so what is variable cost to make? It's a increment cost. Now I quickly want your input here just to ensure that you people are getting clarity of that as well. Okay, so variable cost to make is what, my friends? It's an incremental cost. Exactly. Come on, tell me. Directly attributable fixed cost to make. Now the word is directly attributable. So it's not the existing fixed cost, okay? I'm not getting the replies from you people. It's not the existing fixed cost. It's a cost that will directly arise because of the decision, which means this is a fixed cost that pertains to the decision. If you make a product in-house, then this cost will arise. Okay, so this means this cost is an incremental cost. Yeah, this is an incremental cost. Okay, because it says it's a directly attributable fixed cost. I hope you're getting my point, friends. So it's an incremental one. Connecting this with rule of 5, sorry, rule of 6. Loss of contribution to make. Now, what is this? For example, if you are making a product in-house and you are using one machine because of that. Now, that machine is capable of doing some other work as well. Or I would say you can even outsource that machine to some third party and you can take a rent on that maybe, or you can earn contribution on that. So if you're making a product in-house and you're using that particular machine, so what are you losing? What are you sacrificing? What are you foregoing? So you're foregoing or sacrificing the use of that machinery for some other work. And that is known as, come on guys, that is known as opportunity cost. Exactly, opportunity cost. So yeah, any loss of contribution, any sacrifice that you are doing because you are making in-house is also a relevant cost, and that is your opportunity cost. Awesome response from the audience. So yeah, rule of 6, you can see here, 3 points will be helpful for you in the paper. In make or buy without limiting factor, variable cost to make, directly attributable fixed cost to make, and loss of contribution to make. This will be compared with variable cost to buy, and variable cost to buy is simply incremental cost. Okay, it's a simple incremental cost. Okay, my friends, are we all ready? So do you like this work back approach? Is it time saving? And it is giving you a very good clarity as to what exactly we are doing, and our application will improve a lot. Okay, so first is incremental cost. Second is incremental cost. It's because it's a directly attributable fixed cost to make, which means if you make, you will incur this fixed cost, and that is why it's a incremental cost. Okay, that's why it's an incremental cost. So I hope the strategy is working well. So we have seen the question, we understood the requirement. In paper we are, so we are recalling what should be done. So Sir Rizwan Mania's toolbox is in your mind, and you quickly recall cost to make versus cost to buy. What is cost to make? 3 things that we have covered here: cost to buy, and then you will start comparing. So let's now read the scenario. Okay, now rubber company manufacture control panels for the alarms, a very profitable product. Every product comes with 1-year warranty offering free repairs if any faults arise in this period. Okay, it currently produces and sells 80,000 units per annum. Okay, now my friends, listen very carefully. If you have read the question carefully, so you can easily relate this point with requirement 1, where it was saying to add company will limit its manufacture and sales to 80,000. Okay, so currently they are achieving 80,000 and they will limit themselves to 80,000. Is that clear? So first requirement will be solved considering 80,000. Okay. With production of them being restricted by a short supply of labor. Now this point is a one that is giving you the idea of limiting factor. In fact, this was actually confusing you, because one would read this without reading the requirement. Just imagine if you have just read the if you haven't read the requirement, and you are just reading the scenario, so by this statement you will get confused. Oh, there is a short supply, but later on you found out that requirement B was with limiting factor and requirement A is without limiting factor. So that is the beauty of reading requirement first, so that you are able to understand what exactly is required in the question. Okay. Each control panels include two main components. One is keypad and one is display screen. At present, Robber Company manufactures both of these components in-house. Okay, they are manufacturing that in-house. However, the company is currently considering outsourcing the production of keypads or display screen. Okay, a newly established company based in Kyrgyzstan is keen to secure a place in the market and has offered to supply the keypads for an equivalent of 4.1 and display screen for an equivalent of 4.3. Now, what this 4.1 or 4.3 is? So as per our presentation, this is basically cost to buy. This is variable cost to buy, the cost that you will incur if you buy from outside. Okay, right. The current total annual cost of producing the keypads and the display screen are as follows. So 80,000 units cost is given for both direct material, labor, heat and power, machine, depreciation, total insurance, total production cost. Okay, and there are certain notes given. So what I'll do, I'll start my solution and side by side I'll start reading the notes here. Okay, so what we have to do, we have to advise whether to continue making 80,000 keypads and display screen in-house or whether to outsource it. Okay, this is what we have to do. So do keep this in your mind. So our decision will be based on what? It will be based on cost to make versus cost to buy. Let's start solution using spreadsheets. So here what I'll be doing is, my friends, I'll be using spreadsheets as well, and will definitely teach you the marking scheme, will tell you the marking scheme that the examiner follows, and will also tell you a structured logical answer which your examiner expects from you in the paper. Your examiner is saying that please follow a logical structure so that I can follow your calculation. Don't make things messy, okay? So let's make things clear, simple to handle. Let's start with part A, and what are we doing first is we are calculating cost to make, because we know the tools that Rizwan Mania told us, right? Cost to make is what we'll start first with. Okay, so we are starting with cost to make, and what we have here is keypads. So let's keep this for our reference, because examiner does mentions that you have to show the references or the labeling. Okay, so keypads and display screen. Okay, so we are first calculating cost to make, and the points written here says first work out variable cost to make. So let's search variable cost to make first. So going back to the question, now you tell me quickly, is direct material a variable cost? Let me see what you are giving answers here. Yes, it's a variable cost. Is direct labor a variable cost? Yeah, it is a variable cost. Okay, so let's start with these two first. Material costs for keypads are expected to increase by 5% in 6 months' time. Okay. Material costs for display screens are only expected to increase by 2%, but with immediate effect. So, because we are doing calculation for 80,000 units, okay, so we have a cost of material for 80,000 units for keypad and 80,000 units cost for display screen. We can write this cost as it is, but there is some adjustment required. So what is the adjustment, my friends? The adjustment is that the material cost for keypad will increase by 5%. Okay, but not in the first 6 months. It will increase by 5% the next 6 months, okay? Whereas the material cost of this display screen will increase with immediate effect. Okay, let me quickly check the marks of this first requirement. It's an 8-mark requirement. Okay, so I'll tell you the marking scheme as well, right? Now, material cost, no need to show separate calculations. I can work out in the cell. I think there will not be an issue if I work out this in the cell. So, starting from keypads. Yeah, the only calculation I can tell you here, let's make a reference here of working, and let's make a working area. Okay, this is my working area. So reference has been given. If you have time in the paper, otherwise don't waste it. You can just show this to a different color. Okay. Now, for keypad, it is saying that it will increase by 5%, but in next 6 months, which means we'll not apply this 5% completely. So what we'll do, we'll just use the proportionate percentage. First 6 months, no. Next 6 months, yes, right? So what we'll do, we'll just proportionate this. And how will I do? It's very simple. 5 is equals to 5 divided by 12. So this is the per month rate of increase, right? And this will be applied for 6 months, okay? 6 months. So 5 is an annual rate divided by 12 to get per month rate multiplied by 6 because I need rate for 6 months. So that will be 2.5, okay? So let me quickly tell you the workings. 5 was the annual rate. I divided this with 12 to get per month rate and multiply this with 6 to get 6 months rate because I need a 6-month rate here. So that is 2.5. Okay. So now I know the figure. So I can quickly now apply that. How much is the cost? It's 160,000, right? So 160,000 multiplied by 1.02. You can either multiply it by 102% or it's 1.02. It's the same thing, either 102 or it's 1.02. So I'm sorry, no, 1.025. I beg your pardon. Yeah, 1.025. So 160 into 1.025. I have just prorated the rate for 6 months, and that is 164. Here you go, 164. I hope this is clear. And this is what you have to do in the paper as well, okay? For display screen, it's 116 and 2% increase will be applied with an immediate effect. So it's simple. 116 multiplied by 1.02. 116 multiplied by 1.02, and that is 118.32. So I'll tell you the marking scheme here as well. The marks that you are getting here. Okay, so for this calculation, you will get 1 mark out of 8. Now, my friends, let's understand how to get easy marks because this is important. Easy marks, okay? So there are certain things that will give you easy marks. So don't get frustrated by looking at difficult things and ignoring easy things. Remember, everything has a mark in the paper, okay? And the best example will be in front of you in just few minutes. So here we are with the material cost working, 1 marks for keypad and display screen. I hope there is no question here, okay? So please, you need to be really concentrating here because I explain everything in very clear way. If you just ask me again, so that will waste our time. So please try to concentrate what I'm saying here. So what I have done, it's very simple. For display screen 116, it was the current cost of 80,000 units. I just increased this with 2% with immediate effect. Okay. So it's 1116 into 1.02, or you can multiply by 102%. So there's no formula as such. It's a common sense working. Okay. For keypad, what I did was the rate of increase was 5% given to me. So I just divided with 12 to get per month rate, multiplied that with 6 to get 6 months rate, because it was mentioned in the question that this will be applied for the next 6 months, which means the rate increase will be for 6 months and not for the year. So because this 5% was an annual rate, I had to divide this with 12 into 6 to get 6 months rate. Okay, so I worked out 2.5, and then simply 160 was the current cost, and I multiplied that with 1.025, which is once again 102.5. I multiplied that with 102.5 to get this cost of 164. So I hope this is clear to all of you, right? Yes, guys, clear? What's your feedback? Labor cost. Labor cost. Okay. So what to do for labor cost? Labor cost is 40 and 60. Direct labor are purely variable and are not expected to change over the next year. Perfect. Perfect. So what do you think? Should I take this as it is? Come on, reply me quickly. So the answer is yes, I should take this as it is. 40 and 60 will not change. Now, a quick one. Should you get marks for just writing from the question script to the answer script? Should you get any marks for that? It's nothing, right? Do you expect any marks? Come on, tell me, yes or no. Do you expect any marks? Oh man. So your examiner is giving you 0.5 marks for this. Clap for the examiner. Let's clap for the examiner. So nice person he is. He's giving 0.5 marks for just, copy pasting the figures. That's it. It's not difficult. Understand the marking scheme, my friends. This is an easy mark. Capture the easy marks. Don't involve yourself into difficult things only. Easy marks has a weightage. Okay. Okay. So labor cost done. Now the other variable cost. So let's find other variable cost, if any we have. Heat and power, machine cost. So let's read. Heat and power is not a variable cost. Okay, so heat and power is a fixed cost. So uh, as per my slides, I have to first find out variable cost. So I'm skipping heat and power because that's a fixed cost. Machine costs are semi-variable. Great. The variable element relates to setup cost, which are based upon the number of batches made. Okay, now this is very important. Just understand, otherwise you will get confused later on. It says the variable element relates to setup costs, which are based upon what? Number of batches made. So it is based upon what? Just write it here. It is based upon number of batches made. Normally, we have seen that variable costs are per unit, right? Variable costs uh, are one that are dependent on number of units. Right now, in this case, it is not dependent on number of units, but it is dependent on number of batches. Okay, number of batches, right? So the keypad machine has a fixed cost of 4,000 per annum, and display screen machine has a fixed cost of 6,000 per annum. Okay, uh, whilst both components are currently made in batches of 500. Now what this means, currently made in batches of 500, what this means? Okay, it means that in one batch we are producing 500 units, or I would say one batch consists of 500 units. Okay, so right now we are producing a batch of 500 units. This would need to change. This will change with immediate effect to batches of 400. So this will change to batches of 400 means that now you will change this policy, and now your one batch will be of 400 units. Okay. Now here you need to just understand the impact of this on your variable cost. Should your variable cost change? Yes. Why? Because your variable cost is dependent here on the number of batches made, as it's written here. Okay, so if your current batch size is 500 units and now your batch size will be 400 units, which means if your batch size changes, so your number of batches will change, obviously, right? Your batch size is now reducing, right? If it is reducing, now you need more number of batches. Yeah, what do you think? Batches, you need more number of batches? Yes. And if you need more number of batches, because your variable cost is dependent on batches here, so because your batches will increase, your variable cost will increase. Exactly, it will increase. Okay, because variable cost is dependent upon batches. So we are concerned here with the variable element of machine here. So let's go to our work area, machine variable. Okay, not concerned about fixed one. Working number 2 is the reference I've given here to show the logical structure of my working. My examiner will prefer this. Okay, now let's start the working. So, keypad, display screen, right? Let's look here at the current cost. Okay, let's look at the current cost. Current total cost. So what's the current total cost of display screen? It's 30 and 26. Okay, so 26 and 30. Now, what do you think, my friends? For the calculation of variable cost, should we deduct the fixed cost from this one? Yes. So less fixed cost. So do we have a fixed cost here? Yeah, it's written 4,000 for keypads. Okay. And 6,000 for display screen. So now you will get pure variable cost. Okay. So 22,000 and 24,000. Okay, are you with me, guys? So I hope this is clear to all of the friends. So now it's a pure variable cost in front of you. Is that clear? This variable cost is for 500 units per batch, right? Which means the current cost is dependent upon how many units per batch? 500 units per batch. So let's find out the current batches. So how to find out current batches, friends? How many units are we making? 80,000, yes. And right now, one batch includes how many units? 500, right? 500. So if I divide 80,000 with 500, I will get 160 as my current batches. So right now we are producing 80,000 units in 160 batches. Is it same for display screen? Yeah, because 80,000 units divided by 500, and this is 160. So current batches 160. So as it was mentioned in the question, that the variable element relates to the setup cost, which is dependent on the number of batches made, which means the cost of 160 batches is 22,000 variable cost. The cost of display screen batches is 24,000 variable cost. Are you getting my point, everybody? So variable cost is dependent on number of batches here. So let's calculate variable cost per batch. How to calculate this? Simple. 20,000 the variable cost that relates to 160 batches. The cost is 139 and 50 for the batch. Okay, I hope you can hear my voice. Can you hear my voice, guys? Okay. So I worked out variable cost per batch. And how was it possible? Simple. The cost was 22,000 and that relates to 160 batches. So it's 22,000 divided by 160 batches. So the variable cost per batch is 137 for keypads and 150 for display screen. Are you all getting my point? Okay. So this is the variable cost per batch. I have repeated this again. Now, new batches. All right, new batches. So what is the change in the policy? 80,000 units now will be produced having a batch size of how much? Can you tell me, guys? 400 units per batch. Okay, everybody quickly. 400 units per batch, right? Are you all with me? Say yes or no, guys. 400 units per batch. So if I make this 400, so this will be 200 batches, which means now 200 batches will be required. Same for keypads, sorry, display screens, yes. So revised variable cost will be how much? The cost per batch is 137 and now 200 batches will be produced due to change in the batch size, right? So 27,500 and 30,000. So you can check the calculations as well. So because the variable cost here was not dependent upon the number of units, rather than it was dependent on number of batches, so a change in the batch size resulted in change in number of batches. Okay, a common sense thing, right? And if that will change, obviously the variable cost will change as well. So yeah, there is a change in the variable cost that I've done. Okay, I've just closed my camera here just to improve the sound quality. Please do let me know if it is getting better after closing the video. Okay, I've closed the video, so I hope this will improve now. Now, are we clear about this one, guys? So I hope we are clear about this one. And there is no issue. I just closed the camera just to improve the sound quality. Now, revised variable cost done. So let's go back and to the main working area and just refer these figures there. This was the major calculation. And can anyone guess how many marks for this working? You have to show the working. So can anyone guess how many marks for this working? A rough guess would be okay. Okay, we are working in thousands, right? Yeah, we're working in thousands. Yes, please. A quick idea. We are working in thousands, that's why I'm increasing this. Now I'm changing this and using the full digits here. So this is 164,000 and this will be, okay, I'm just changing these to the full digits. So don't get confused about it, okay? Previously I was writing in thousands. Okay guys, how many marks you think you will get here? How many marks? Any quick one? Okay, so here you will be getting 3 marks. Yeah, you deserve it. 3 marks, right? Come on. Tell me, out of 8, how many marks you have secured up till now? Out of 8, how many have you secured up till now? 4.5. What do you think? Are you, have you passed in this question? Have you passed in this question? Yes, you have passed in this question. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Now, let's move on towards the next one. I think we are done with the entire variable cost, because the next what we have is depreciation and insurance. That is also a fixed cost. We are done with the variable cost here. So let's work out the total variable cost. Okay. Let's sum all. Look at the presentation as well, guys, and try to understand the methodology that I'm adopting, how to approach a question. Obviously, in your paper, it will be a different question, okay? So we are done with this one. Now coming towards directly attributable fixed cost. First of all, you remember the machine, in machine variable cost, I was given fixed cost as well, okay, which you can see here. We deducted that cost. Now quickly tell me, do you think this fixed cost is relevant, directly attributable fixed cost or not? Now let's see what people will say here. I'll go back to my question and we'll read this again. The keypad machine has a fixed cost of 4,000 and display screen machine has a fixed cost of 6,000. Now can you tell me, is this a relevant fixed cost? Now what do you think, guys? Okay, so because the statement is not that clear, to be honest, it could go both the ways. It could be yes, it could be no, right? Because it's not very much clearly written. So examiner has given you the option here. You can either take this or you leave this, will not matter. If you take this, you get 1 marks. If you leave this, keeping in mind that is not relevant, you get 1 marks. Okay. So yeah, because it is not very clearly written, one can argue here. So it's up to you. The allowable treatment was you can either take it or leave it. But for me, when I read this, I get an idea by reading this. Keypad machine has a fixed cost, so it gives me the idea, okay, this relates to keypad machine of 4,000 and display screen machine has a fixed cost of 6,000, so it gives me the idea, okay, display screen machine, so I think it's a relevant directly attributable cost, okay, because it is, you know, very much related to machine like keypad machine and display screen machine. But if you still think it's not relevant and the statement is not clear, so examiner did allow both the treatments. So let's move on then. So I'll consider this as a relevant cost, 4,000, 6,000. And for doing this, will I be given marks? Yes, why not? If you leave it, then to 1 mark. And if you consider it, then to 1 mark. Wow. Wow, what else you need? Okay. Okay. Yeah, but as I mentioned that it's not very clearly written here. Should we consider it or not? So I've mentioned this before because this is not very clearly mentioned here about as to it was directly attributable or not. So if you consider it, you are given the margin for that. If you don't think it's relevant, so you can leave that as well. Yeah, let's not argue here because you have both the options. I'm saying here the statement is not that much clear. That is why examiner gave you the luxury of either taking it or not considering it relevant. So let's not argue here, okay? If it would have been clearly written, examiner would never give you that luxury. Yeah, let's move on. So directly attributable fixed cost, machine done. Now coming towards heat and power. So let's see what it says. 6488, heat and power. Let's read the note. Heat and power include an apportionment of general factory overhead for heat and power, as well as the cost of heat and power directly used for the production of keypads and display screens. Okay. So if you just observe here, it says that it includes general apportionment of factory overhead as well and directly attributable. So this one is not relevant, whereas directly attributable is relevant. I'm sure you will agree with me, right? The general apportionment included is calculated using 50% of direct labor cost for each component and would be incurred irrespective of whether components are manufactured in-house or not. Now, this is the clarity I'm talking about. If the things are so much clear like this, then there is no doubt about it. Okay, there's no doubt about it, right? So it says that general apportionment is not relevant, will be incurred irrespective of that, and directly attributable is relevant. I hope you all are getting my point here, friends. So I need only directly attributable. So what will I do? Heat and power. I need directly attributable. So what can do here? I can do calculation in this cell only. The figure given to me is 64,000. Okay, and this includes 50% of direct labor cost, which is basically general apportionment. Okay, 50% of direct labor cost. So labor cost is how much? 40. Now 50% of direct labor cost makes how much? 20,000, right? So 20,000 is included in 64,000. Are you getting my point? The labor cost is 40,000. If you take 50% of that, makes 20,000, which is the general apportionment that has been included in the 64,000. Okay, so let's show the entire working. 64,000 minus 40,000 labor costs, 50% of that. So 50% of that will be deducted and you'll be left with 44,000. So I hope this is clear to all of you. Same for the second one. 88,000, bracket open, 88,000 minus what is the labor cost of display screen? It's 60,000, right? 60,000 multiplied by 0.5 and 58,000 is the figure. Here we go. So we are getting again 1 marks for this as well. So 1 mark for this calculation as well. And I hope the marking scheme is making things clear. Now just figure out the easy things that were available. So easy things were giving you more and more marks. Like heat and power was the easy thing. Machine fixed cost was an easy thing. Okay. Machine labor cost was easy. Material cost was easy. The only difficult thing that I saw here that had the weightage of 3 marks was machine variable. That's it. Okay. So we are done with this one as well. Now, depreciation insurance. 60% of the depreciation insurance relates to an apportionment of general factory depreciation and insurance, and 40% is specific to the manufacture of keypad and display screen. So something that is general is not relevant. Something that is specific is relevant. So we'll just take 40% of this as a relevant cost. General will not be considered. Okay. So 84,000, 40%. 96,000, 40%. Okay. Depreciation and insurance. 84,000.4, 96,000.4, and here we have the cost of specific insurance and depreciation cost. All these will come under the fixed overheads. Okay, so I hope this is clear to all of you. For heat and power, 64,000 was the cost, which included general overheads based on labor cost. That was 50% of labor cost. So I worked out 50% of labor cost and deducted from 64 to arrive at 44,000. Okay, Zahra, I hope this is clear. Now, going back to, are we done with variable cost to make? Yes. Are we done with directly attributable fixed cost to make? Yes. There is no loss of contribution here. There is no loss of contribution here. Okay, I'll send the spreadsheet in the group. Okay. So for depreciation and insurance, we are getting 1 marks again because we are just taking 40%, which is directly attributable. That's it. Clear? Now, total cost to make, and here we are at the decision. Variable cost, let's add on. Okay, so this is the total cost to make, including variable and fixed. Is this clear to all of you? Yeah, 160 is basically the number of units you produce in one batch, but now you'll change to 200 units per batch. Okay. I added the entire cost. Okay, entire cost. Now let's compare this to total cost to buy. Let's compare this with total cost to buy. So how much is the cost of buying per unit? Given in the question, it's 4.1 and 4.3. 4.1 and 4.3. So 4.1 multiplied by 80,000. Buying from outside will cost you 328,000 for keypads. 4.3 multiplied by 80,000. Buying from outside display screen will cost you 344,000. Okay. Okay. So now can you tell me, guys, what is the decision quickly? What is our decision? Make or buy? Make or buy? Make. Cost is less. Make. Which means both the products should be produced in-house. Now, remember, 0.5 marks you are getting. 0.5 marks you are getting for calculating the cost to buy. And 1 mark at the last you will get for the concluding part of taking a decision, and that is you will make both the products. Okay, so is the marking scheme clear? You can do per unit as well, but I think it's more preferred here because doing total makes more sense. Okay, so 12 marks. Now, where were the easy marks? Let me tell you. If you are frustrated in the paper, if you are short of time in the paper, so learn this technique. Go for easy marks. So this was easy mark. This was easy mark. Okay. Uh, Heat and power was easy. Depreciation and insurance was easy. Cost to buy was easy. So at least you can get these marks. At least you can get. If you're not solving the complete question, still you can get 4 marks to pass. Are you getting the point? And this is very much possible in the paper, that you can get easy marks in the exam. Even you don't solve it completely, you are getting marks for different points. So yeah, this is how you can get 4 easy marks. Okay. I'll come to that, Michael, later on. Guys, are we clear about this thing? Are we clear about this thing? What's your feedback? Did you understood the way I solved this using a logical approach? For exam, this will give you the starting point, the points that I shared with you people. What's your feedback? Will this make your life easier? Depreciation and insurance, Amir, is very simple. The question did mention here that 60% related to apportionment of general factory depreciation, which is general, which is something not relevant. It's general, okay? So you have to take a specific one. So specific was 40%. So we'll just take that fixed cost that is directly attributable, okay? That relates to that product only. Clear? Right. So we are done with this first part of 8 marks with a complete marking scheme. I hope this is clear to all of you. Now it's the second part, which places restriction, which says that labor takes 0.5 hours to produce keypad and 0.75 hours to produce display screen. Labor hours are restricted to 100,000 hours and labor is paid 1 per hour. Robber wishes to increase its supply to 100,000 control panels. Now units will increase from 80, it will go to 100,000. Okay. Advise company as to how many units of keypad display they should either manufacture or outsource. Now, because there is a restriction here, so it's very much clear that it is with limiting factor. It is with limiting factor. Are you getting the point? So when it's with limiting factor, what you have to do? So let's go towards that. $1 million points for with limiting factor. Now, this is really very important. The mindset that I'm giving you here. So listen, when you are solving make or buy with limiting factor, so remember, making is most visible. Making is visible. And let me just show you here. See, is making visible in both the cases for both the products? Say yes or no. Understand my mindset. Making is feasible. Yes? Are you all with me? So yeah, making is feasible, right? In both the cases. But we cannot make. Why? Because now the production is 100,000. Now the production is 100,000. And we only have labor hours of 100,000. Right? So because our production has increased now, we can't produce all the units due to restriction on labor hours. So in make or buy with limiting factor, making is most feasible, and it is the case. You want to produce both keypad and display screen in-house, right? Because the cost is less. But you cannot due to limiting factor. So the mindset has changed now. Understand? In case of without limiting factor, the mindset of $1 million point was buy or make. Buy or make. So you compared there. Okay. But in make or buy with limiting factor, what happened? What happened? Making is the only option you have, but you cannot make. Now the situation has changed. Understand? Now the situation changed. And what is that? Now you cannot make because of limiting factor. You wish to produce both in-house, but you cannot. So the mindset has changed. Here you are not comparing buying with making, getting the point that we have already done. Here the mindset is that you have to produce in-house all, because making is feasible, but you cannot do this because of what, my friends? Limiting factor. And when this is the case, what you have to do, you have to follow the steps of with limiting factor, uh, and the steps are: calculate variable cost to make per unit, calculate variable cost to buy per unit. We have this as well, right? We have this as well, right? Then calculate saving to make each unit, then divide saving to make each unit with hours, rank on the basis of variable cost saving to make per hour of limiting factor, and produce an optimum production plan. And this will tell you how many, listen, how many units you will produce in-house and how many will you buy from outside. Yes. Okay, so see, this is what being asked in the question as well. Let's quickly relate. It says how many units of keypad should they either manufacture or outsource? Wow, what a connection. See the application, guys. Are you loving this? Say yes or no. The way I'm linking the mindset with the requirement, and that what matters. Remember, the same question will not come. The question will be different in the paper. So the mindset will help you there. Okay? Understanding my point, guys? Yes or no? So yes, you can see here, now it's with limiting factor, but now it's our time, official time to take a break. So we are taking a small break here, and we'll start within 7 minutes, because I again need to give you break uh, because of another prayer coming up. So yeah, 7 minutes break we'll take here. Those who are not part of my WhatsApp group, please, you can send me the link on this number and be part of my group. So I will send you the link, and that group is important. Remember, for December 2020, if you are part of my group 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, remain connected there, because extremely it's important for December 2020. I'll be sharing lots of important things there, to be honest, right? So please, if you're not part of that, quickly send me the WhatsApp message. Let's take a break. See you in 7 minutes time. Okay, welcome back. So let's now move towards the with limiting factor steps. I just saw a question from a student that normally we work out David. Yeah, it was David. Now we work out saving per contribution, right? Now it's not that, it's different one. It's make or buy with limiting factors. I'll tell you what we will use here. So yeah, let's start part B. I've showed you the presentation of everything very clearly. I hope marking scheme and things are clear. Now let's start with keypads. Display screens. Okay. Step 1. Let's keep in mind the steps. Okay. Variable cost to make. So variable cost to make per unit is what I need to work out. So I can do that. It's very easy because I've already have separated the variable cost. See, this is what I've done here. Separated the variable cost. Okay. So I've separated the variable cost and we'll divide this with the number of units, right? So we do know the number of units, it's 80,000. So this is the variable cost, divide this with 80,000 and you will get 2.8935. Exactly same I'll do here. The variable cost is given to me divided with 80,000 and yes, it's 2.604. So variable cost to make, step number 1 done. This is step 1. Okay. Now variable cost to buy. So let's work out variable cost to buy per unit is given to us. Yeah, it's 4.1 and 4.3. Okay, easy, right? 4.1 and 4.3. Let's cross check it. Yeah. Now, the third step is what? Calculate saving to make per unit. Okay. Saving to make per unit. Okay. Saving to make per unit. Now, saving in variable cost per unit. Okay, so let's work out the difference. This minus this, it's the saving, right? And it's the saving, right? Okay. How did I get variable cost to make? It's simple, my friends. See, I've done the working of variable cost here, total variable cost already. Okay, so I use this figure, divide this with 80,000 units, so I get per unit of keypad and per unit of display screen. Okay, it's very simple, right? So variable cost saving to make. Now just keep this in your mind. If you make a keypad, so making a keypad means that if you make keypad in-house instead of buying from outside, so each unit will save $1.2 And for display screen, each unit will save $1.6, right? Because you have to decide which to make in-house and which one to buy from outside. So we have saving in variable cost to make. Step 3. Step 4 says what? Divide saving with hours per unit. So let's work out saving per hour. Okay. How to do this? This saving divided by the per unit hours. Let's check in the question. 0.5 hours for keypad and 0.75 hours for display screen, right? So yes, per hour saving, and this divided by 0.75 hours. So saving per hour has been worked out. Now you keep this in your mind. Listen, audience, very carefully. If, because there is shortage of labor hours, right? If you use one labor hour to produce keypad in-house, if you use one labor hour to produce keypad in-house, how much saving will you get by making keypad in-house per hour? Can you tell me? 2.4, right? And if you use that same 1 hour, to produce display screen in-house, so on that 1 hour, how much saving will you get by producing display screen per hour? 2.26. Because understand, the limiting factor is labor hours. So your decision will be based on limiting factor. So remember this always. Whatever is your limiting factor, your decision will be based on that. Just to give you a simple example, if you are short of time, if you don't have time, okay, so your decision will be based on time. If you're short of money, so your decision will be based on each dollar you spend. So whatever is limiting factor, decision is based on that. So right now, labor hour is the limiting factor. So your decision will be based on labor hours. So what you have worked out, if I give 1 hour to produce keypad, so on that 1 hour, I'll get a saving of 2.4. And if I give 1 hour to display screen to produce in-house, I will get a saving of 2.26. Now let's rank on the basis of saving per hour. So which should be produced first? Can you tell me, guys? Which should be produced first? Come on, where are you? So first we should produce keypads and then display screen. And why are we ranking here? Come on, because we don't have labor hours. So yeah, this is step number 5 that I performed. Rank on the basis of variable cost saving to make per hour of limiting factor. So you will produce that product first that gives you more saving to make in-house, right? Okay, so now the last is optimum production plan. Okay, so let's make optimum production plan here. As per the ranking, products, keypad, display screen. Keypad is first, display screen is second. So units to produce 100,000 each, right? Yeah, 100,000 each. Keeping in mind the second requirement, 100,000 each, right? So hours required. It's simple to work out. 1 unit of keypad requires 0.5 hours, right? So units multiplied by 0.5 50,000 hours required for keypad. 1 unit of display screen requires 0.75 hours, right? So 100,000 into 0.75 will give you 75,000. So total hours required 125,000, right? Now hours available. Okay, hours available. How many hours do we have? We have 100,000 hours given in the question. 100,000 hours, right? This is the restriction here. Here we have. So first 50,000 will be given to keypad. So how much we are left with, guys? How much we are left with, guys? 50,000. Okay. So the next 50,000 will be given to display screen. I've done ranking on the basis of saving per hour. Saving per hour. If you give 1 hour to keypad, so in that 1 hour, you will get 2.4 saving on making keypad in-house. Whereas for display screen, you are getting 2.26 saving per hour. So the more saving per hour means that first you will make keypads because that is giving you more saving per hour. Okay. Sayyida Batul, I think this is clear. Now, let's work out the units. So, keypad units, how many we'll produce? We require 50,000. We have 50,000, so we can produce complete 100,000 of keypads, right? For display screen, we require 75,000. We have 50,000, right? How much? So 50,000 divided by each display screen requires 0.75 hours, which means we'll produce 66,667. Okay, clear? Okay, so 66,667 is what we'll produce. Display screen is not giving more saving, brother. Is 2.4 a bigger figure or 2.26 a bigger figure? Come on, just concentrate, please. 2.4 is a bigger figure, right? Yeah. Okay. So 66,667 is what we'll be producing display screens. Now, this is the limiting factor. That is why our mindset was that we wanted to produce both in-house, but we could not due to limiting factor. And here you have the answer. So now we are moving towards the final thing. How many to buy from outside? Okay, how many to buy from outside, guys? Display screen, right? Only display screen will be bought from outside. So total demand is 100,000. Out of that, how much we have produced in-house? So we have produced 66,667, and the difference is what we'll purchase from outside. That's it. So this is the answer. 66,667 will be made in-house, whereas 33,333 will be bought from outside. Everybody, are you clear about this? Understood the steps? Are these steps clear to all of you? Did this become easy? Yes or no? The way I dealt with limiting factor and without limiting factor in a same question. What's your feedback? Understood? As for ranking, I'm repeating this third time that you have to see per hour, the higher saving you are getting to make will be made first. Okay, so yeah, keypad is giving you per hour saving more to make. It's saving to make per hour. Okay, okay, so yeah, This is done. Clear? Now, $1 million points. Remember this. Now this will make more sense, right? Now this will make more sense. In without limiting factor case, what we have to keep in your mind? We have to keep either to buy or to make. Come on, you repeat everyone. Either to buy or to make. Okay, come on. What is the $1 million point in make or buy without limiting factor? Make or buy, right? Make or buy. Getting the point, everybody say yes. And what will be the mindset when it is with limiting factor? What will be the mindset? The mindset will be making is the option. Making is feasible option, right? But what is the problem? What is the problem? The problem is we can't make. We can't make due to limiting factor. We can't make due to limiting factor. That is why we'll follow these steps and we'll rank accordingly. Okay? Clear, everybody? Yes, yes, yes. Yes, Aman Jangir. Okay? So we are done with this part. I hope this is clear to all of you. Negative sign was just showing you that the cost of making is less and cost of buying is more. Okay, so negative is showing you a saving here. That's it. If you even if you ignore the negative sign, no issues. Okay, now the last part to complete a 20-mark question. Discuss is examinable verb. The non-financial factors that drawer should consider when making a decision about outsourcing the manufacture of keypad or display screen. So what are the non-financial factors one should consider when deciding whether to outsource or to manufacture in-house? Non-financial ones, okay? Not financial ones. Today on WhatsApp group, I've shared a very good thing. If you're part of the WhatsApp groups, you will find the meanings of different verbs, like what discuss means, what illustrate means, what evaluate means, what suggest means. So please do read those, okay? I also shared read the Marcus Mind document. I also shared read the Marcus Mind document, that how examiner gives you marks. So do read that as well. One thing about that I'll cover in today's session. But before, let me tell you the non-financial factors one should consider before deciding whether to outsource a product or not. Uh, even if financially you think that it's good to outsource, even if financially you think it's good to outsource, but still you should consider that if you outsource, direct control will not be with you because you outsource that product. Okay, so you need to consider that there will be no direct control over the production. Plus, if you outsource, there is a risk of confidentiality. Maybe the outsourcing company will leak your secret. For example, you make a perfume, right? So if you make a perfume and you have a secret formula for that, so if you're outsourcing that to some other party, so there is a possibility that they might leak your formula. So there is a risk of confidentiality loss. Then reaction from customers. We all know that 7 to 8 years or 10 years back, suddenly every company shifted towards China and they started buying from China. So customer used to react, why from China, right? So there is a possibility that if you outsource outside, so customers might react, why are we buying outsourced products? Okay, so customers might react that why the company is not making products in house. Okay, so now listen, these 3 points are in favor of making in house. Okay, these three are in favor of making in house because we have to discuss, and when we discuss, we cover both the sides. Are you getting the point? When we discuss, we cover both the sides. So these are in favor of making and these are in favor of buying. Okay. So these are in favor of making and against buying, the first three, and the next two are in favor of buying and against making. So let's see what it says. Focus on core work. Yeah, focus on core work. Now, this is in favor of I want to make notes and teach. So if my focus will be on making notes, I will not be able to teach properly. Okay, you can't hear me? Is it clear now? Okay, thank you. Okay, so have you all covered these first 3 points, right? We have covered the first 3 points. Yeah, first 3 points covered, right? You were hearing me, first 3 points. Okay, great. The last two. So focus on non-core work means that focus on non-core work means that if I'm a tutor, my work core work is to teach. So if I spend a lot of time making the notes, I am wasting my time. So what I can do is I can outsource making notes to someone else, and by doing this, I can focus on my core work. So you can outsource your non-core activity to the third company and you can focus on your core work. So this is the point that is favor of buying. Secondly, the specialist company will be giving you good quality work, okay, because that is a specialist company, and because they are specialists, if you buy from them or if you outsource them, so they can give you a good quality relation to that product. So which means if I specifically outsource notes making work to a person who is a specialist in making notes, so he will give me good quality notes, right? So these are points in favor of buying. You should go for outsourcing, and these first three are in favor of making. So when you are required to discuss non-financial factors, so you consider both the things, positives and the negatives, which are in front of you. The first 3 points are positive for making, negative for buying. The last 2 points are positive for buying and negative for making. Okay. Okay, why we are taking variable cost? Because for a decision making purpose, that is the relevant cost, variable cost. If you make, you will incur variable cost. If you buy, you will incur variable cost. Okay. Can you explain reason from outsource from customer? Yeah, reaction from customer means that if you start buying a product from someone else, and if customer gets to know, so they may react. For example, you are a company Nokia and you start buying the products from China and you are delivering the products you bought from China, so customer will react, why from China, right? If you remember, sometimes ago we used to check in our cell phone the batteries of Germany or China, because if it is of China we used to say, oh, the quality is bad. So this is the reaction from customer. Direct controls mean that you are able to control the production process. So if you make in-house, you have complete control in your hand. But if you outsource, you can't control because that outsourcing company will now make the product for you. So you will lose your direct control over production. Okay. Now I need to move on, my friends. You can watch the recording just to check what I did for machine cost, Asadullah. Okay, so you can check the recording for that. Focus on non-core work. As I mentioned that, I did mention that if you outsource your non-core work, so you can focus on your core activity. Okay, you can focus on your core activity if you outsource your non-core work, and it gives you time to focus on your core activity. Okay, we don't have to write in these pointers. We have to write in a paragraph form. I've covered a lot of theory on first day. I showed you how to write in a paragraph form, so you have to write in the same way in a paragraph form. Okay, Mustafa? No, Akbar. Well, we will take variable cost here as I showed you in the steps. Okay. Okay. So, guys, done with the 20-mark question. You have this in a paragraph form. These points in a paragraph form you have to write, as I've discussed a lot of theory drafting, so you can just follow that. And this is a 20-mark question we have covered here. So I hope the strategy of Workback was good. Come on, a quick feedback. Did this strategy help you today? Starting with a question, reading a question, and then going back. Yeah, tell me please. Was this a good one? Okay. Okay. Now, starting with another past paper question. TR company. Starting with another past paper question. Are you all ready? Let's start with another past paper question and use the same workback strategy. Is the voice clear to all of you? Okay. Let's do the similar thing again. Calculate the profit. Calculate the profit. Calculate the optimum profit maximizing selling price for paraffin and resulting annual profit which TR will make from changing this price. Okay. Now, 12 marks. Wow. Which topic is this one? Can you tell me? Calculate optimum selling price for a product and resulting annual profit. Note if P is equals to A minus BQ, then MR is equal to A minus 2BQ. Come on, tell me, which topic is this one, guys? Yeah, it's the pricing. No linear programming. It's the pricing, okay? It's pricing. It's pricing, okay? Second requirement, discuss and recommend whether market penetration or skimming would be most suitable pricing strategy for the company when launching the new anti-malaria drug for 8 marks. Okay, so it's skimming, penetration, right? Okay, so having said that, let's go to the handouts, and here we are. What a strategy. It's time for past paper, section C. Yes, marking scheme is important. Your logical presentation is important. Giving references are important. Using the formulas are important. Yes. profit maximizing point. MC is equal to MR. Now, if you need to work out profit, if you need to work out an optimum selling price, a selling price that will ensure profit maximization, selling price that will ensure profit maximization. So you have one method known as MC is equal to MR. MC is what? MC is marginal cost. MR is marginal revenue. So what is MC? You can call MC as variable cost. One additional unit cost. If you produce one more unit, the additional cost that you will incur is MC. Okay? Right. What is MR? The cost, sorry, one additional unit revenue. One additional unit revenue is MR, right? Okay. So when this is the case, there are certain steps to follow. And what are the steps? Show a logical presentation. Establish a demand function. So what is a demand function? Price is equals to A minus BQ. Okay. And you have observed today I am more focusing on calculation. This is my strategy. This is a wise strategy. A good tutor will follow this. Things which are tested more for calculations, you do more calculation practice. Things which are tested more for theory, you do more theory. Are you understanding my strategy? Budget was more towards theory. Variances was 50-50% that we did yesterday. And today we are more towards calculation. Did you understood? This is what the homework is. Okay? This is what my analysis, this is what your examiner is saying every time. Right? So, A, what is A? What is B? Okay? So I'll tell you that. Establish marginal cost, which is variable cost. State marginal revenue by double the gradient. Okay? And this is what? MR is equals to A minus 2BQ. Equate marginal cost and marginal revenue to find optimum quantity. Okay? And this is quantity, which means this is the best quantity that will ensure profit maximization, right? Substitute quantity that you have found out here into demand function to find optimum price, which is your best price, and this will ensure your profit maximization. Okay? So these are the steps. These are the steps. So how it was clear that you have to use this method? How it was clear that you have to use this method? By reading the question, which gave you a very clear hint. Optimum profit maximizing selling price. And you just saw here the note which mentioned the demand function. And this is your demand function and the equation for marginal revenue. Equation for marginal revenue. Okay. So let's read now. It's a very good question. Tested in 2017. TR Company is a pharmaceutical company which researches, develops, and manufactures a wide range of drugs. Some of these drugs, Parapain is a pain relief drug used for treatment of headaches, and until last month, TR Company had a patent on Parapain, which prevented other companies from manufacturing it. Like a Panadol, right? In Pakistan, it's very famous. Panadol, right? Pakistani students, is it true? Okay. The patent has now expired, and several competitors have already entered the market with similar versions of paraffin, which are made using the same active ingredients. TR company is reviewing its pricing policy in light of changing market. It has carried out some market research in an attempt to establish an optimum price for paraffin. The research has established that for every $2 decrease in price, demand would be expected to increase by 5,000 batches, with maximum demand for paraffin being equal to 1 million batches. Okay, right. Now, I'll stop here, and I know my step number one that I have to perform. So what is my step number one? Establish demand function. Okay, so how will I establish demand function? So for that, there are certain things that you need to keep in your mind. Okay, and let me just write those things for you people. That will make more sense. So for that, I need help of my OneNote sheet. Let's open OneNote. So did you find the new strategy useful, guys? I'm sure you saw a major change today in the strategy. What do you think? Is this strategy more better compared to the previous two? Come on, I need your input because I believe in your input. Okay, so price is equals to A minus BQ. A minus BQ. Okay, A minus BQ. Now, where A is what? Price where demand is 0. Okay, and we find this through a formula, and the formula is, if you don't know, you can copy current price plus current demand divided by okay, I hope you can hear my voice. So current price plus current demand divided by change in demand into change in price. Is this clear to all of you? Now, what is B? What is B? Okay, so B is gradient or slope. We call this slope. So how we find this? We find this by a formula, change in price. This is a very interesting question. Please be with me. Change this, sorry. Okay, so the formula is change in price, change in demand. Okay, so let me give you a quick idea that this demand function relates to this demand curve. This is law of demand curve, which says that a change in price affects a change in demand. So price is here, demand is here, right? Okay, it's an inverse line if you can see here. So where is A? Where actually is A? So if I extend this line, so this is the point where A is. Price where demand is 0. So this is A, right? Price where demand is 0. And what is slope? This is the slope. The inward trend of the line is a slope, okay? So inward trend of the line is a slope. So this is the demand curve, and this equation that you are seeing above is a one that is dependent on this graph. The equation is dependent on this graph, okay? I hope this is clear. Now, let's perform step number 1 from the question. Step number 1, what we have to do? We have to form a demand function. For that, I need the value of A and B, right? So let's do it. Step 1, demand function. Okay, so are we supposed to use this formula? Yeah, P is equals to A minus BQ. Now it's a tricky one here. Try to understand. Do we need to find B? Yes. How? It says that, let me change the color of the pen. Decrease in price by 2 will change the demand by 5,000. Okay. So it's 2 divided by 5,000, and the answer will be how much? 0.004. Okay, that's perfect. Okay, that's perfect. Now, are you ready for the challenge, my friends? Are you ready for the challenge? So do look here what the challenge is. It's easy to find B using this formula. Okay, now find A. Find A. Tell me the price where demand is 0. And this is the challenging part here. I've written the formula. I'm giving you 30 seconds here to think. This is the formula and this is the question. Start thinking. 30 seconds. Let's see how many people will give me the answer. I need A answer. Okay, Salman Raza has given me the answer. To find out A from the formula, what I need current price, which I don't have. I need current demand, which I don't have. What I have is change in price and change in demand. What I have is change in price and change in demand. Are you getting the point? And what I don't have is current price and current demand. So how will I able to work out? Okay. So yeah, this is a genuine problem, but concept will help you. So tell me what A is. A is a price where demand is 0, right? So if I use this demand function and I need A, which is a price where demand is 0, right? So what I can do here? What I can do here? Now, if you look here in the question says the maximum demand for paraffin is 1 million batches. Okay, so do I have the demand maximum one here? Yes or no? Yes, I do have maximum demand, right? I do have maximum demand, and I also have the value of gradient as well. Okay, now if I want my answer to be 0, if I want my answer to be 0, so I'll keep here 0 is equals to A is what I need to find here. A is what I need to find, right? Okay, minus what is the value of gradient? 0.004, and the maximum batch quantity is given to me is 1 million. Is that right? Yeah, it's 1 million. Okay, so can I work back and find out the value of A, guys? Tell me. Sorry, it's 1 more 4 0. Yeah, so can I find out the value of A by doing a work back calculation? Come on, guys, tell me yes or no. Yes, yes. So this is how we had to find out the answer here. Okay, this is how we had to find out the answer. Great. Understood. Say yes or no. It's 0.0004. Okay, 3 zeros are here. So what I did was that I need the value of A. Okay, and A is what? A is a price. A is a price where demand is 0, right? Okay, so what I did was I wrote here 0, and I have the maximum demand. Now I worked out for A. A is the missing figure here. Yeah, A is the missing figure. So if I will solve this for A, mathematically, if you solve this for A, you will get the answer of 400, right? Answer of 400. Are you getting the point? So now A is what? A is the price where demand will be 0, as you saw here. So that is 400. So at a price of 400, your demand will be 0. Getting the point, everybody? A quick one, yes or no? So this is how we have to work out here. Okay, so now the function is P is equals to 400 minus 0.0004 Q. So here you have the demand function, step 1 done. Step 1 done, and out of 12 marks, for step 1, you had 1.5 marks. So 1.5 marks you secured by solving step 1. Okay. Okay. So I hope this is clear. Okay. Now, after step 1, what are we supposed to do? After step 1, what are you supposed to do? Solve step 2. So what is step 2? Step 2 is establish marginal cost. Okay. Let's now establish marginal cost. Marginal cost is equals to variable cost. Okay. So let's read things about variable cost in the question. Each batch is currently made using following materials. Material Z, material Y. 500 grams at the rate 0.1, 300 grams at the rate 0.5. So are these two material cost variable? Say yes or no. The answer is yes. So let's start working. Material Z, 500 grams multiplied by 0.1 is 50. Okay. Material Y, 300 grams multiplied by 0.5 is how much? 150. Okay. Simple. Great. Now, each batch of paraffin requires 20 minutes of machine time to make, and variable running cost for machine time is 6 per hour. Okay, so 20 minutes it requires of machine time, and the cost per machine time is 6. Okay, so can we work out? Is this a variable cost first of all? Is this machine running cost a variable cost? Yeah, it says variable running cost, right? It's a variable cost. So machine running cost 20 minutes. Okay, I'll divide this with 60 to convert this into hours. 20 divided by 60 into 6 per hour is the absorption rate. So that makes 2. Are you getting the point, guys? 20 divided by 60 multiplied by 6 is 2. This is a variable cost, and this should be considered, right? Okay. Now, the fixed production overhead cost is expected to be 2 per batch based on budgeted production level of 250,000. So should I take this cost in part of marginal one? Come on, tell me yes or no. Yes or no? No, we should not. We should not. Okay. Let's move on. Now, the skilled workers who have been working on paraffin until now are being moved on to the production of TR company's new unique anti-malaria drug, which cost millions of dollars to develop. So our skilled workers that used to work on paraffin now will be shifted towards a new product. TR has obtained a patent for this revolutionary drug, and it is expected to save millions of lives. Okay, just like a corona vaccine, right? No other similar drug exists, and whilst demand levels are unknown, the launch of the drug is eagerly anticipated all over the world. So it's very much similar to corona vaccine. What do you think, guys? Yes or no? Agency staff who are completely new to the production of paraffin and cost $18 per hour. So now what will happen? Your current skilled workers have been shifted towards the new product, maybe corona vaccine, and an agency have been hired that will work on this paraffin what you call medicine. Okay, so agency staff who are completely new to the production of paraffin and cost 18 per hour will be brought into produce paraffin for the foreseeable future. Experience has shown there will be significant learning curve. Wow. So how easily the examiner shifted towards learning curve. This is the best part about learning curve, that learning curve can come anywhere, in every topic, in any topic where labor is involved. Yes. I gave you a homework question. Remember yesterday, Bock company. Have you solved that homework? Come on, guys, tell me. Anybody did solve that homework? Bock company. In that as well, there was learning curve impact with variances. Yes? Okay. I'll share the answers of that as well with you people. That was a section B question. Yeah. Okay. Let's move on. The first batch of paraffin made using one of the agency worker took 5 hours to make. Okay, the time for first batch. However, it is believed that an 80% learning curve exists. 80% learning curve exists, okay, in relation to production of the drug, and this will continue until first 1000 batches have been completed. TR course management has said that any pricing decision, this is important, about paraffin should be based on the time it takes to make 1000th. 1000th. There is a TH here of the drug. 1000th of the drug means that your decision about pricing will be based on 1000th of the unit, which means that you have to work out the cost of labor for 1000th unit. Is this clear to all of you, my friends? Say yes or no. My warriors, are you all good? Is the energy going good? Do you like my energy right now? What do you think? Will this webinar will be a game changer for you? Not getting many responses. I don't know why. Don't feel like a wild animal. Okay, that was a good one. Okay, now, so yes, where were we? I forgot where were we. Okay, because that statement, wild animal is coming in my mind again. Anyways, so let's come back. So 1000th of the batch of drugs. So decision will be based on 1000th of the batch, which means that we have to work out the time for 1000th labor. Okay, and we need to incorporate learning curve. Okay, so guys, let's start with the calculation of labor. Labor is part of your variable cost, and this will require the calculation of learning curve. So what are we supposed to do? Let's work out the time for 1000th unit. So how we are supposed to work out the time for 1000th unit, my friends? For that, for what we'll do, calculate the time for first 1000 units. Okay, first we'll calculate time for first 1000 units. Come on, be with me, everybody. So what we'll do here, we'll use the formula y is equals to ax to the power b. I did give you the recap yesterday, remember? So what is y? Y is cumulative average time per unit. Y is cumulative average time per unit. Okay, so what is cumulative average time per unit? It is the average time per unit for entire 1000 units. Okay, the average time per unit. So let's work out how much is the time to make one unit. The time to make first unit, in fact, was given here, and that time is 5 hours, right? So I need the answer for 1000. So what I'll do, time to make one unit is 5 hours multiplied by, I need average for 1000 units, and the power value is given to me in the question, 0.321928. 0.321928. Okay, so come on, tell me, what is the average per unit answer you are getting here using your scientific calculators? I'm waiting for your answers, guys. What is your answer? Okay, let me see. It's 0.545099. Okay, so to be on safe side, let's take more decimal places. Okay, so it's 0.5409. I've taken the 5 decimal places. It's always good to take more decimal places, but remember, in a section B question, you have to follow the decimal policy given in the question. Because if in section A or section B, learning curves is tested and it's a fill in the blank question, so in a fill in the blank question, you don't have the luxury of your own. In that fill in the blank question, you have to follow the instructions given about the decimal policy. This is a major mistake my students are doing in the paper in section A and section B questions, that they are not following the decimal policies there, especially for fill in the blank questions. Okay, here you have the luxury, so I can take 5 decimal places here to be on safe side. So let's multiply this with 1000 units and I'll get the total time. Okay, so what is the time I'm getting here? 540.99 is the total time for 1000 units, right? Okay, great. So this is the average per unit. This is the average per unit for 1000 units. I've also shared the $1,000,000 plan. And in that, I mentioned if you need to learn learning curve in a detailed way, you can watch that respective previous webinar video where I've taught learning curve from scratch. Okay. So I've shared that in my $1,000,000 plan on WhatsApp group. Okay. Now, what I need is, now I need time for first 999 units. So same 5 hours into 999. So I need 999 average time. So let's compute. Okay, I'm waiting for your answers, my friends. Are you all with me? Let's work together and let's nail our exam. So can anyone tell me? And if you have done the working, then you will realize why I took 5 decimal places, because still 3 decimal places, everything was similar. Got it? Got it, everyone? That's why I took 5 decimal places to be on safe side. Multiply by 999 units. So it's 0.54116 multiplied by, and the time I'm getting is 540.62. Is that right? Okay, great. So I need the time for 1000th unit. So let's work out the difference of these two. 540.99 minus 540.62. So that will give you 0.37 hours. 0.37 hours. Is that right? Yeah. Is that right, everybody? So this is the time for 1000th unit. 0.37. Okay. Clear? Okay. So are we clear about this, everybody? Now we have the time for 1000th unit. So it's time to work out the labor cost now. So 0.37 multiplied by rate per hour. What is the rate per hour? It's 18 per hour. 18. And the answer is 0.37 multiplied by 18 will give you 6.6 6.66 is what we are getting here. And if you add all, you will get the marginal cost. And let's see what is the marginal cost. 50 plus 150 plus 2 plus 6.66. And that is 208.66. So step number 2 performed. Getting the point, guys? So, do you want to know the marking scheme? And you will be shocked to hear that you will be getting 3.5 marks for learning curve calculation. Wow, 3.5 marks for learning curve calculation. Can you imagine? And for the total marginal cost, 2.5 marks. 2.5 marks for the total calculation of marginal cost. Easy marks, easy marks. And let me tell you one very good thing. Let me tell you one very good thing. The rule of own figure rule. If you don't know, you'll be shocked here. Just in case, if you wrote this figure wrong, if you wrote 50 wrong, okay, so only a small amount of mark will be deducted that have weightage for this. Because if you wrote this 50 wrong, you all know this figure will also be wrong, right? If your material Z figure is wrong, so your total marginal cost will be wrong. What do you think? Yes or no? But in your examination, there is a rule known as own figure rule, which says that if mistake is in one part, so deduction will be made only for that part. So if you have worked out material Z wrong, so only a small amount of mark will be deducted and you will get complete marks for the remaining ones. It will not affect your marginal cost figure marks. The marks that you are supposed to get for calculating marginal cost will be given to you. So this is known as own figure rule. This is the examiner's marking scheme. If you read the Marker's Mind document that I shared on WhatsApp group today, you will find that error that you do, so only deduction will be done for that error, and if that error had an impact on the final answer, no deduction will be done for that later on. Own figure rule. Are you getting the point, guys? Say yes or no. Okay, great. Now I'll take 15 minutes more today again. I hope no issues, because I'm giving you more time, so that's good for you. Okay, that's good for you. Because of the disturbance today, because of that voice issue and things like that, so I'll extend 15 minutes more, right? So I hope there is no issue, and the more I teach is good for you. What do you think? Yes or no? Or you don't want 15 minutes more? Or should we continue for the entire night? Right? Should we continue for the entire night? Let's finish PM today. Are you ready for that? Are you ready? I'm ready to help you till the last day. Are you ready? Okay, that sounds good. That sounds good. Okay, perfect. Perfect. Anyways, so the marking scheme of own figure rule is clear to all of you, right? Now, I have a very good news for you as well. I have that good news on WhatsApp group, okay? Anyways, let's come back here. So, done with marginal cost, working step 2 as well. No issues in that, right? Okay. Now, let's take a 2-minute refreshing break. What do you think? Just 2 minutes to refresh ourselves. We have done step number 1 and 2, and we'll see you in 2 minutes time. Until then, if you want to copy these things quickly, just copy, okay? Just 2 minutes, just to refresh ourselves. Okay, welcome back, my friends. Everybody's ready for the whole night session, right? Okay, I hope ACCA allows me, so I'm ready. Okay, so we are done with the first two steps. Let's go to the notes and see what next is. State marginal revenue by doubling the gradient. Okay, so we now need to write the marginal revenue equation. I'm just using step-by-step technique here. MR is equals to A minus 2BQ. So if I use the demand function, this one, so let's write here, MR is equals to 400 minus 2BQ. So I will multiply, double the gradient, right? 0.004, and this will be simple 0.0008. Okay, Q. So I hope this is clear, as this was 0.0004, and this is step number 3 done. Now step number 4, what it says? It says equate MC with MR to find out optimum quantity. MC equal to MR. Okay, let's equate it. So how much is marginal cost? Do we know marginal cost? Yes, it's A208.66, right? So 208.66. We have replaced MR with MC. Okay, we have replaced MR with MC. 400 minus 0.0008Q. So like this, I can work out Q. And what is the value of Q? 239, 250. Now this is my optimum. This is my optimum quantity. The quantity that will ensure maximization of profit. Okay? Maximization of profit. Everything clear, guys? Last step. What is that? Substitute quantity into demand function to find optimum price. Okay, let's do it. So demand function is what? Price is equals to 400 minus 0.0004 into quantity of 239, 500. Okay, guys, are you all clear? I've used demand function, the same one that was given me here. Okay, demand function, this one. Yes. So what is the price? The price is 304.3. This is your optimum price. Okay, optimum price. A small change due to decimal, no issues at all. someone was asking me about the decimal policy uh, for section C for constructive response questions. If a decimal policy is given, so follow that. If not given, so you can just mention the policy that you have used, maybe through 3 decimal or 4 decimal places, okay? But when it comes to section B or section A, fill in the blank questions, where there are fill in the blanks. So in that you don't have any margin other than to follow the decimal policy that is given. You don't have any margin in that case. You have to follow the decimal policy that is mentioned there. Okay, otherwise you will lose the marks in section A and B. So here we have the answer. I hope own figure rule is clear to you as well. Now let's move towards the marking scheme. So 1.5 marks for demand function, 2.5 marks for marginal cost, 3.5 marks for the labor working. So if I add these two, so this makes 7.5 marks, right? 7.5 marks. Now, what about the other marks? So let's see. You will be getting 0.5 marks for MR equation. You will be getting 1 mark for optimum quantity, telling you the marking scheme. Okay. So this makes 7.5, 8, 9, total 9 marks. Now you're left with 3 marks, right? Okay, so we are done with this part. I hope there is no issue. 1 mark for the price as well, right? The price as well, the quantity and then the price. So now in total 10 marks done. So this marking scheme is making clear where are the easy marks available. So do capture those easy marks first, okay? If there is something troublemaking, leave that and move on. For example, if you're not clear about learning curve, for example, you forget it and just move on. Excluding learning curve, you can do the calculation. So how much will you lose is just 3 marks of learning curve. This is own figure rule. For example, in a paper, if you are not sure about the calculation of learning curve, so you take any figure of labor and just do the complete working. Getting the point? This is examination technique. This is the technique that we don't know. Learn the technique. So if you don't know this calculation, so how much will you lose? Just 3.5 mark, that's it, out of 12. You can get the answer other than that. Examiner will deduct marks for this one only here and will not deduct any marks later on. Even if you are getting the wrong profit answer, wrong quantity answer, you will get marks for all those things. The mark deduction will be done just here in labor cost. That's it. This is the own figure rule. So do understand this technique. If you find anything difficult, leave it and move on towards the next area, and you will get marks for those steps at least. Okay. Yeah, it's the decimal issue. That's why you are getting a difference answer of quantity. So that is not an issue, Marjabin. Okay. Now we are done with this one. So what is left? Work out resulting annual profit at this price. Okay, so let's work out the profit now. 10 marks already done. So now 2 marks you will get for the profit. Okay, 2 marks for the profit. So sales revenue quantity 239,500 multiplied by 304.3. Okay, less variable cost 239,500 multiplied by the marginal cost that you worked out 208.66. Okay, less fixed cost Okay, how much is the fixed cost? So for that, you need to go to the question again. And let's check in the question. 2 per batch based on 250,000 batches. 2 per batch based on 250,000 batches. Okay. So 2 multiplied by 50,000 batches. Sorry, 250,000 batches. Okay. And you can work out the profit, and this will give you 2 marks. 2 marks. So what answer are we getting? 22396, 225 is the figure of profit, and this is 12 marks that I mentioned here to you people. 12 marks that I mentioned here. I hope the marking scheme is clear. I hope the own figure rule is clear. If you have done wrong working of learning curve, I know the impact of that will come till here, till profit. Profit will be wrong, but doesn't matter. The deduction will just be made at that part. That's it. Okay, fixed cost, I'll repeat here. You just look here in the question. It was mentioned the fixed production overheads is expected to be 2 per batch for the period based on budgeted production level of 250,000 batches. Okay, so the per batch cost was 2, which is based on 250,000 batches. Oh, 2 multiplied by 250,000. 2 multiplied by 250,000. Okay, Akbar Soeb, 2 multiplied by 250,000 will give you the total cost of 500,000 fixed cost. Okay, getting the point. So own figure rule is clear. Go for easy mark technique. Is everything clear to all of my friends? These are the techniques you need to learn. Yes, Shehzad Rahman, I did mention earlier, this is because of the rounding off, my friend. Don't worry, just listen to me. This is because of the rounding off. Okay, great. So done with 12 marks. Now left with part B. Part B. Okay, part B will be solved using word processing sheet, right? Okay, so let's come towards this part B. Let's see how to draft the answer on a word processing sheet. I'm using all the tools that are available by ACCA. These all are ACCA based platforms. Please use all ACCA platforms of testing. You have the access of that. So it's wise to use all those things so that you can focus yourself according to exam environment. So in paper, you will be available with this Word document. So let me tell you how to answer the next part. Now, 8 marks. Come on, my consultants, can you tell me verb and objects? Verb, how many verbs? Discuss and recommend. Now, you can even write in your paper to plan your answer. That's no harm, okay? You can even plan your answer by writing these short things. Discuss and recommend, 2 verbs, right? Whether market penetration or skimming would be more suitable pricing strategy for TR than launching the new anti-malaria drug. So what is the object? Object is starting from which word? Can you tell me? Object is starting from which word? Weather, right? Start from word weather. Whether price penetration or skimming is useful, okay, for TR. So come on, is it knowledge based or application based? Knowledge based or application based? Come on, my champions. Come on, my champions, tell me. The first day of webinar made things really clear for you people, right? Oh, here we have the feedback from the champions. Okay, great. It's application based. Yeah, TR. Now, let's go to our handouts. See the strategy that I'm using today. Is it easy for you to understand, right? What is price skimming? Quickly. Price skimming, charging high prices in the initial phase. Okay. Conditions are important to remember. Conditions are important to remember. When you charge high prices, when product life cycle is short, okay, so you want to cover quickly, right? When demand is inelastic, what is inelastic demand? Inelastic means that a change in price will not have an impact on demand. A change in price will not have an impact on demand. Inelastic demand, right? So in case of inelastic demand, you can use price skimming, because you know if you charge high price, demand will not be affected. Demand will not be affected. Okay. Production is limited at early stage. In case of cars, mainly when production is limited, so you charge high price, because you know if you charge low price, you will get lots of demand and you might not be able to cover it. Understand? Come on. Okay. When there are barriers for competitors to enter the market. What are barriers? Which means everybody cannot easily enter the market. When there are barriers, so the best example of barrier is what? Patents. You have taken the right, you have the patents. Only you can produce this drug and no one else can produce. So this is a barrier. This is a bottleneck. So if this is the case, you are the king. Now just imagine if you develop a coronavirus vaccine. So will you use skimming here? Yes. Coronavirus vaccine will have an inelastic demand. The higher you charge the price, people will be ready to pay for that. Okay. Okay. So barrier means not easy to enter the market due to high research, development cost, high equipment or patents. Okay. Now penetration is opposite of that, charging low prices at initial phase. What are the conditions? Why you charge low prices? When you target a higher market share, when you want to capture a bigger market share, when you want to capture a bigger market share, you go for penetration. When the demand is elastic, when the demand is elastic, what is elastic? What is elastic? A change in price will have a major impact on demand. Major impact on demand, right? So if you change the price, demand will react. If you reduce the price, demand will increase. Penetration, charge lower prices so that demand increases. Elastic demand, okay? To discourage competition. What this means? A reduction in price will discourage the competition, will give you a bigger market share. Your competitors will not get the idea what is happening. Remember yesterday's question, ICL product. Our competitor reduced the price and took the market share. Okay? Or you want to move to growth and maturity stage quickly, because if you reduce the price, you will get more sales and you will jump from introduction to growth stage quickly. Okay? Now, having understood this, how to get 8 marks? I'll tell you a marking scheme. I just take 6 minutes more, okay? 6 minutes more, and I'll explain you things. It's an 8 mark requirement. Now, first you will write about price skimming. Okay, you will write the definition, you will define it. but use the name of TR company. Use TR company name. Now what you'll write? You'll write if TR company goes for skimming, so TR will charge higher price for anti-malaria drug. Are you getting my point? Write as if you are writing about TR. Show the examiner as if you are writing about TR. And then write the conditions in which skimming is used. The condition that I just told you from the previous slide. So write about the conditions, okay? Condition 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, for all these, you will get 3 marks. For skimming, you will get 3 marks. Then, use the same strategy and write about penetration. Write about penetration. Okay? Write about penetration. Same, charging lower prices. So write like this: if TR charges lower prices for the anti-malaria drugs, so the price will be low, and this is used in a condition, and mention the conditions. Use TR name regularly. Are you getting my point? How to write conditions? It's very simple. You can write here. It is used when the product life cycle is short. Second, when the demand is elastic. This is how you can write condition. Simple. Okay. Great. Understanding my point, guys? The last is the recommendation paragraph. Paragraph for recommendation. And this recommendation will be done keeping in mind TR company. So 2 marks you will get for the recommendation. Now for recommendation you have to use the scenario. So let's use the scenario. Let's use this one paragraph here. This one paragraph. Let's see what it says. Skilled workers who have been working on paraffin until now are being moved on to production, okay, of unique. So first is unique. This is a unique anti-malaria drug like a corona vaccine, which costs millions of dollars to develop, which means there is a high cost of development. High cost of development which everybody cannot incur. Everybody cannot incur. TR has obtained a patent for this revolutionary drug. Now, patent means you have the right to make this. You only have the right to make this. No other company can make this. No other similar drug exists. Demand unknown. The launch of drug is eagerly anticipated all over the world, like coronavirus vaccine. So now you tell me the conditions: unique product, patent, unique product, patent, and high cost of development. All these are signs of barriers to entry. All these are signs of barriers to entry. See, barriers to entry, high tech, research and cost, high development cost. So all these are signs of barriers to entry. So when you are writing in a paragraph form, so do mention about these things: unique, high cost, patent. So yes, what will you suggest? Skimming. What will you suggest? Skimming. You will suggest skimming. You will suggest skimming. Okay. So 2 marks for skimming suggestion, 3 marks for penetration paragraph using TR name, then skimming paragraph using TR name, and this is the 8-mark breakup which you can write here. It's always good to plan what you have to write before you start writing it. Just make a quick short plan on your word processing sheet. Okay, so you can use Akbar. Keeping in mind the conditions of unique, patent, and all these, it seems that, use the word it seems that, okay? it seems that TR company should go for price skimming strategy. Got it, friends? So we are done with 20 marks more. I hope you like the marking scheme strategy, how to get easy marks. Section B, answer I'll discuss tomorrow. The one I gave you homework, Doc Company. If you have still not solved the question, make sure you do solve this question, okay? Now, these are the questions you have to solve from homework. Section A, OTs. These are given in the presentation. I'll share this presentation right after the class. So you have to solve all these, okay? $1 million plan will be given to you as well in relation to how to cover up relevant costing, one-off contract, shutdown decision, how to cover up linear programming, and risk and uncertainty. Okay. In case of penetration, when you're explaining the definition of penetration, you will write if TR company goes for penetration. If. Okay. So when you're explaining the definition, so you use the word if company goes for skimming, if company goes for penetration, and in the last recommendation paragraph you will write it seems that it is good to go for skimming. Okay, so I'll share the slides of today on the WhatsApp group. Please just send me the message if you're not part of the group. This is the number for this homework stuff and everything. Remember, tomorrow is a very crucial day, performance measurement. It will come in your paper. It always comes for 20 mark in your exam. So everybody just spare time for tomorrow's session. I don't want anybody to be absent. Good news will be shared to you on WhatsApp group. A quick last feedback about the today's session. How was the session overall? What do you think this workback strategy was good for you people? Started with a question, then we are doing the recap. So what do you think? Is this application based strategy good or not? Quickly, your feedback, please. How the today's session went in terms of calculation, theory, easy marks, and things like that. Everybody, please. Okay, don't be scared. You will pass. Just follow my plans. After the webinar as well, I'll give you the plan. Just follow it. Be positive. You will pass the paper. Okay. Okay. So I hope this strategy worked out well as well today. So do remain updated through the WhatsApp group, and this is the number. So please just send me the WhatsApp message. Okay, thank you very much. See you tomorrow. Performance measurement. Make sure you're present. Until then, take care. Bye.